Aaron, must be a relief to get that win after a couple of weeks of really good four-quarter efforts.
Yeah, look, coming off a really hard slogging game against North Lonnie last week, I thought we put 4 quarters together. It was good to probably put 2.5 quarters together today. And look, to Devonport's credit, they really came with some real heat early, and we're probably just a bit slow out of the blocks again.
Yeah, like you said, you sort of slow out of the box, didn't score in the first term. What was your message to the boys at quarter time?
Oh, it was just around intent. Like we talked during the week about if we showed the same intent we did against North Lonnie, then we know we can compete with any side. I just thought we lacked it. We were second to the footy again, and we were just willing to be led to the footy. So we made some changes, and yeah, to the boys' credit, they changed. Some really good efforts through the mids. We had a winner. Ethan Brock stepped up forward and kicked some goals, and Mitch Walker was dangerous there, and Mitch Carter showed his class off half-back and started to set up some play for us.
Just coming off those sort of the game against Lauderdale and then especially the Launceston game, I thought the last 2 weeks you guys, I know you've spoken a lot in the media about just putting in the contest, putting in the effort. So how do you think that's been over the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, a lot better. We've done some work on it at training just to be able to compete. And that's all of us, as a coach, and I've said it before, we want to compete every week. If we can do that, we've shown we've matched it with Glenorchies, we've matched it with North Launceston, and probably the really only game we let ourselves down this year was probably the Launceston game, which was an extremely disappointing 4-quarter effort. But look, today, apart from the slow start, the boys showed some resilience, got headed in the last there and showed some more resilience towards the end of the game to get through the win.
I thought in the last quarter, even though it seemed, I think we spoke about it before, that the free kicks were 14-2 against you. I thought that your the ball was coming in a lot, but your defensive unit was huge, especially Mitch and Tyler Carter. Yeah,
look, Tyler Carter did a fantastic job on Thorp today. I think Thorp might have got the one goal, but I don't think he took a one-on-one contested mark against Tyler. So we gave him the job to do it, and he backs himself. And he was really good. And Mitch Carter, just his ability to read the play and the ability to kick at 60 yards, so he can set up defence from attack really quickly through his skills. He's a real asset to our side. And again today showed why he's in the state squad, and I dare say he'd definitely be playing.
You just spoke about that movement from defence. I know in the second term you guys really got going with a lot of quick ball movement from defence to forward. You spoke about that fast-paced brand of football being the brand that you guys like to play. Do you think after quarter time you were able to play that and that contributed to your win?
Yeah, look, we had some real good transition plays, and that's just ability to outwork our opponent and just catch them on the other side of the ground. We fell into the trap against Launceston just kicking down the line all the time, and look, that's too easy to defend. And look, we said if we want to make mistakes, let's make mistakes trying to play our style of footy and just come out the game. It's the only way we're going to learn. The only way we're going to get better is by trying it, because the more you do it, the more you'll get better at it, and the more it'll turn around. Because we weren't learning nothing from kicking down the line. I don't think any club does. So it's pleased to see that we started to do that a lot more today. It was good to actually have a dry game of footy, because we haven't had too many dry or windyless days this year. So it was good to have a dry even contest.
Yeah. At the start of the year, everyone probably looked at Walker and Batchy as being your sort of twin towers up forward.
Yep.
With Batchelor out now, Ethan Brock stepped up to kick 3 last week and 4 today. What can you tell us about him?
Oh, look, he started the season in the seniors, but probably was just down on form. And look, we wanted him to play a certain role as a forward, like a small crumbing lot type forward. And he was really good with that last week with Mitch Walker getting to the fall of the footy. And look, today he took some good out in front marks, but also he's just lively up forward, and he played a few games in the twos and played some real good footy and got his opportunity again last week, and he's come back into the side in form, which is fantastic. And I think he's last 2 weeks has just been exceptional, and the role that he wants to play, as he's played it to a T the last 2 weeks.
He loves a goal, doesn't he?
Oh, he's pretty keen on a goal. He yells out and the hand goes up pretty quick when he knows it's on its way, which is good. Look, we should celebrate goals. Look, previous years we haven't kicked too many, so let's celebrate it, let's enjoy it, and get ready for the next one and enjoy that as well.
Mitch Walker kicked just the 2 today, but they're both from limited opportunities, and I thought he really competed well in the air, especially one-on-one, and brought the ball down to the small forwards.
Yeah, look, Mitch, even last week, he didn't have a lot of the footy, but his ability to bring the footy to forward of the ball was really good. Look, today he was probably early. We didn't use him very well. We kicked on his head. We didn't kick to space. We talk about kicking the grass and let the forwards do the work. We didn't do that early on in the game, but as the game wore on, we started to. Just his ability to contest. He's got a good leap on him, and if he's not grabbing it, he's not getting outmarked. It's coming to the fall of the footy, and just his forward line pressure today was probably as a big bloke, being able to work up the ground and provide, forward line pressure to give us re-entries in forward is probably a real highlight for him.
Just looking at your squad now, I know at the start of the year a lot of all this young Tiger Cubs kind of stuff, but looking today, I thought you guys had a pretty good mix of experienced players and youth. You've got sort of your Davies, Mitch Carter and stuff, Peterson through the middle, but then you've got your blokes like Gadomski, Watt, Toby Cohen, all those guys stepping up, Lockie Clifford.
Yeah.
Do you think once, when Hugh Dixon comes back and once the Mariners stuff and rep games settle down, that competition for spots will really heat up?
Yeah, definitely. And look, when we get Batchelor back too, he's another one to throw in the mix. And look, we've got some really good quality young footballers, whether it be the 16s with Ollie Burrows-Cheng played today, 16 years old. Ethan Brock's only I think he's still 16 years old as well. He's a young kid. And, with your Cliffords and your Cohens and your Godomskis and, the Rees and boys like that, and obviously when Dixon's finished with the Allies, getting those boys back full time with us, gets them to gel a bit more with the boys, but they've got plenty of upside in that. They're young, but even Lockie Clifford, he shows why he was the captain of the Mariners. He shows great leadership out there. His ability to tackle, and his good work on the outside, and his skills and his composure is really good as well. And Godomski off half back, he just full steam ahead and backs himself, and his run complements Mitch Carter really well, because Carts can drop into those holes and provide run with his kick. Gaddy just runs and creates off the half back line. So getting those boys back full time really is an upside for our footy team.
One more. You've played every team once now. Are you about where you'd hope to be? And I know that you probably don't want to look at ladder positions or win-losses, but in terms of maybe the style of footy that you guys are starting to play, especially in the last fortnight.
Yeah, look, we're up and down with the style of footy. I mean, the conditions, we've had 2 big wet days with Clarence and North Lonnie, aren't conducive to real dry weather footy. We've had a windy day, against Burnie earlier in the year where we showed signs. Lonnie, we just didn't show any signs. So we've been thereabouts with the Hobart City we did, and obviously today we started to show some of that. Look, it continues to be a work in progress. Obviously myself only taking over a couple of weeks before the season started. We're still trying to implement that and continue to educate the guys. But they're really good. They're really taking it on board. They're a great bunch of boys. We've got plenty of contributors and plenty of leaders on the ground, which will move our club forward. We'll just continue with those young boys.
One more for you. Having played every team once now, and the way that this competition seems to be developing into a competition where anyone on their day can beat another team. I think a couple more upsets on the cards today.
I saw that.
Having played each team once, do you look at a team and sort of reflect and go, okay, this is where maybe not their weakness, but this is what we can do, and with that belief that you can beat any team in the comp on your day?
Yeah, it's just all about that intent, that effort. We've showed for most parts of the first year we can compete. Glenorchy for a half of footy. North Lonnie last week, I thought for 4 quarters, they probably just got us towards the end. Look, we will probably hope. I think we're 3 and 5 now. We probably would have been happy with 4 and 4. I think we had our chance against Lauderdale, and I thought we could have pushed Launceston not better than what we did. I mean, we're down by 16 at half time and we blew out to 80. So a couple of games we thought we thought we could win. Probably let those go. So look, we'll be really keen to know that we can compete with those guys. So on the back round of times we play them, look, we're asking for better everything against those sides. And look, we still give ourselves a chance of playing finals. I mean, we'll travel to Burnie next week. And look, they're young and they haven't won a lot of games, but they're still very hard to beat up there. As we saw last week with Clarence, didn't get them over the line till late in the last quarter. So we know what we've got ahead of us. No game for us as a gimme, as shown today, because Devonport were fantastic.
Yep.
But look, we'll just continue to push, continue to develop, and continue to teach the boys, and hopefully by the year end we'll be really playing 4 quarters of our brand of footy, which will put us in good stead for not only the end of this year but for the years moving forward.
Mitch, disappointing not to get over the line, but you'd be pleased with the boys' efforts today.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I think we led at every change, and when the real pressure hit late in the game, we just couldn't quite execute a few of our skill errors, and overall very pleased, very proud of the group. Very resilient group. We've endured a little bit of pain at the start of this year, but we know where we're headed, and we're starting to get better each week.
You spoke about that. You guys are definitely, I think, widely spoken about how you've been improving week on week, noticeably. Not just in the games where you've had the wet and the wind, but just the effort and intensity, and you seem to be able to compete more throughout games. How do you feel you guys went competing for 4 quarters today?
Yeah, that's been our challenge, to actually put 4 quarters together. I reckon we got 3.5 today, and credit to the Tigers, they got over the line late. I was super pleased with 4 or 5 of our 17-year-olds. I thought they were arguably our best players. along with Bo Sharman and Brad Simmons today. So to have 4 17-year-olds being our best few players, I reckon that's a good sign for the future. And they were the guys that did play 4 quarters for us today.
I thought, I don't know if these are the 4 you're talking about, but I thought Sharon Eggar was good. I thought Perry, Shard and Barker and also Giacomo Malucci up forward in that first half was really lively.
Yeah, Malucci, Burnett, Perry and Eggar were unreal today. I mean, they look like 25-year-olds, yet they're 16 and 17. So they're the steps that we're starting to see after 7 games of TSL footy. Put another 30 or 40 on top of that, and we think we're going to have a pretty handy side. But we've got to endure a little bit of pain at the moment. Boys are hurting a little bit. Once again, full credit to the Tigers. They pipped us at the post, so they'll celebrate the win, and we'll lick our wounds and look to Launceston next week.
You guys have played every team once now. Obviously, you're winless, but it's not about that. You've spoken about this 60-game plan. It looks that even this early in the season that things are really starting to come together in terms of effort and intensity.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, the back half of the year will become even better. So the win-loss thing, as much as it'd be nice to get a win, we're starting to see that improvement in the guys that you just mentioned: Eggar, Perry, Burnett, Barker, Malucci, Creedon, Scott. The list goes on. So we think the back end of the year we'll win a few games and lead our charge into next year.
There are some dominant ruckmen in this competition, it seems, at the moment, but I thought Levi Creedon definitely held his own, if not probably won the battle with Peterson today. What were your thoughts on how he's developing as a ruckman?
Yeah, I just missed him. He's another 17-year-old. He's 200 centimetres, very raw, comes from a cricket background, and you're right, I thought he got over the big fella today, and that's pleasing for us to have a 17-year-old on our list that we know we're going to have for the next period of time, and I think he'll end up being quite dominant as the years go by.
Everyone's sort of spoken about Dylan Riley's form, but I thought, as you mentioned just before, I thought Brad Simmons and Bo Sharman with a lot of inside 50s, just their attack on the football and their physicality definitely. Do you find that those guys leading on field helps bring the young boys up with that intent and that level?
Yeah, no doubt. I thought Bo Sharman and Brad Simmons today were our best 2 older players. I thought their 4 quarters of effort couldn't be questioned, and But Brad was like a mini tornado around the ground, hitting bodies, tackle, pressure, and Bo, I hate to think how many possessions he finished with. It would be somewhere around 40, 45, I reckon. So those 2 older guys were fantastic, and the younger guys were equally as good. We're good players across the board. We just couldn't quite hang on at the end. I
think your forward line on its day could probably match any forward line. You've got yourself up there. You've got Malucci today, who he sort of kicked 1 or 2 occasionally, but today he kicked 3. He probably could have had 6 if it had rolled his way in the last quarter a little bit more. What are your thoughts? And also Brodie Conley with his kicking style, he's a bit clinical. Once those guys get a bit more experience under the belt, probably the second half, do you think you'll be a bit more lethal up forward? And obviously you missed a couple of weeks with the ribs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes back to the midfield. Your midfield supplies your forwards and supports your defence, and we've got some nice entries today, and we hit the scoreboard. We think once we get that connection between our kickers and our catchers, so our mids and our forwards, we'll hit the scoreboard pretty heavily. But you're right, we're pretty raw as a group, and our synergy together isn't quite there. I thought Malucci, as a small forward, to kick 3 today was another 17-year-old was terrific.
Do you guys sort of see, you've got this 60-year plan, so about 3 years. How do you guys, you don't want to look at win-loss kind of stuff, but do you guys see you guys knocking on the door of the finals, say 2018, 2019?
We're pretty clear that we obviously won't make finals this year. We want to win 5 to 10 next year, and then the last year be the season that we really have a crack at it, and that's what we're setting ourselves up for. And as you've articulated, you start to see the type of talent that we do have. We just need to get the games into them, because we've already seen such progression in 7 games of footy.
Having said that, there's been a lot of upsets. I know there's been 2 today on the cards anyway. That must give you guys that belief and able to sort of compete in some of those games, that belief that you can, on your day, like knock over any team in the comp.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm tipping Glenorchy and Launceston. Launceston won, did they?
It looks like they're going to get up, yeah.
Okay, and Clarence and North?
That Clarence might get up there.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, the comp is relatively even. I mean, we just need to get the games into our guys to be in that mix. I think it's anyone's premiership this year. I think North London are clearly the front runners at the moment, but they need a bit of luck with injuries. Every club does to keep a healthy list out there, and yeah, it's good competition.